Hello and welcome to the video. I'm going to be talking about if CSGO recognizes Israel as a legitimate state. And for this video, I'm only going to be using the comp maps because those are maps that Valve is actually approved of. So I'm not going to be using any other maps because there's just too many maps in the game. So it's the competitive queue that's going on right now. I don't know about like tomorrow or like not the old comp maps either. It's only the maps that are on right now as of this date. So for the first map, I'm going to be doing Mirage. So the first thing you notice is this ticket sign. When you translate it, the Arabic, it does say, in fact, ticket sales. So that does mean that there is some sort of ticket selling. Either it's for, it looks like it's for some game thing or something. It's a night show, and they have the ticket booth over here. And I don't know if that ticket booth could, I don't know if it also means that they support traveling, but it seems just to be like some game or something. But this is the easiest. This is like the first thing you see when you leave CT spawn. So it does not support Israel yet. So then you come up to markets. And you see this sign. I put it through Google Translate. It says like fresh for car electric or like it's some store or whatever, some electric store. That's what it says. Or like gas station. So I'm guessing it's just a gas station store from what I could decipher there. And these are like almost they were just giving me all mixed shit. And when I was doing it, it was kind of insane. It just says "man" drinking water when you translate that. So that's pretty interesting stuff. Alright, so the next thing I noticed was this sign in the entrance to mid from T side. So it just says no entry basically. You're not allowed to have entry, but it doesn't specify like who. So it could be talking about the Israelites, but I don't know. It doesn't really specify, so we could only assume that it's talking about everyone. But there is some reality where it might only be targeting Israelites. I just want to throw that out there. Also, the sign out here, it says about the same exact thing as the sign outside of markets, or like the other side of market. It's just like telling you, oh, it's a gas station or like an electric shop. I don't know. Google Translate is weird, but it works well enough. Honestly, couldn't find much with Mirage, so off to Inferno. Oh, okay, guys. So first in Inferno, top of mid. We got a little bit of a problem here. As you can see, it's a BMW logo with like lines around it. And if you guys don't know, BMW actually helped build cars for the Nazis and stuff. They helped build tanks and stuff or whatever. They built machinery and weaponry for Nazis. That's how they made a lot of their fortune. So this is not really looking pro-Israel at all right now. But I'm hoping they could bring up back their case and hoping they actually recognize Israel as a legitimate country. So the next piece of evidence is right at ruins, like right where CT spawn. It's ruins or it's like church, as most people call it. But as you can see, at least they support some sort of religion. It's kind of hard to tell based on this direct part, but it kind of looks. It's a pretty small church or synagogue, if it were to be a church or a synagogue. And if anything, to me, I would say this kind of looks Christian. This would have to be a Christian church, but I don't see any more evidence to really even say that. That's just me guessing. You can see they were still building up. So it could have built to be a circle and or like a sphere. If it was kind of going to be a sphere, it would obviously be a mosque, but it's kind of really hard to tell based off just this unfinished product. They do have graves like this though. I would have to say this can't really be Jewish because we would not leave our dead just out there like that unless those are pre-made coffins, which then that's fine. But I mean, still not fine. Pretty bad place to put coffins. And whatever. But, like, oh, okay. Yeah, it's Christian. It's definitely Christian based off that. So far, no support for Israel here. We've only found hate on Inferno for Israel. Seems like CSGO so far in the negative for supporting or recognizing Israel as a country, and also even liking Israel. So far, you've only seen hate towards, well, I wouldn't say hate, but I would say they're supporting things that used to be against the Jewish people. And what is Israel? The Jewish homeland, and the homeland of many other too. But saying the BMW stuff, not that cool, not that cool, CSGO. Pass has anything to offer positively towards the Jewish people or Israel. So, the next map. So this map, Overpass, as you can see, it is a German map, which isn't looking very good if you know the history of, well, the world, that Germans did not like the Jews. We don't know what time period this is, but it looks to be modernish. But you could just tell that it's not off to a great start when there's Germany and stuff, but hopefully we'll see. So, we didn't really find anything else that would change your mind on CSGO and if they recognize Israel as a legitimate country. So, what? So this map is German, but it's obviously Germany. It takes place in Germany, but we don't know exactly where or what time period. So the time period seems to be modern, at minimum modern. It seems to be like after World War II. I don't know how much after, or it could have been during, to be honest, but it seems to be after, because there is reconstruction, so it could very well be after. And it is like big cities and stuff. I'm pretty sure it's after. So it is safe to assume that they're still kind of in the same spot they were when we went over Inferno. So it's not inherently negative, but they still don't recognize Israel as a legitimate country so far as the maps that we went through. Well, off to Vertigo now. So, first off, Vertigo seems to be already supporting it. I mean, well, based off the language at least, it seems to be supporting it, because this is obviously English. It could be in Britain, but based off the voices of the people, it sounds to be like an American accent. The characters seems to be an American accent.
Let's go.
So we could assume that Vertigo at least supports Israel, because America actually does support Israel, surprisingly enough. I know you guys are like, whoa, no way, but they do. They support Israel, and they recognize it as a legitimate country. And actually, pretty sure they moved. It was a little recently, I guess. They moved the embassy back, like to actual Israel, because before it was somewhere else. I don't remember. I don't remember the exact situation, but it was something like that. So honestly, could not find anything in Vertigo that would prove or disprove CSGO recognizing Israel as a legitimate country. But I guess it's the same as it was even right before Inferno, because they kind of, Germany and America kind of just canceled themselves out like that. But I think off to the next map. So here we are in Nuke. So again, it is English, either European or American. And it seems, at least from what I can tell, American. This looks like a SWAT car, in my opinion. And we are SWAT.
Yes.
And based off the accent, it does seem to be American. And so this really doesn't really have anything to do with the Israel tensions or anything. It's just a nuclear facility in America somewhere. So it doesn't really seem like this would lead to CSGO being negative or positive towards recognizing Israel as a legitimate state. So overall, it seems like Nuke really has nothing. Doesn't seem to have any support, or does not seem to... So overall, it seems like Nuke has nothing. Doesn't seem to actually support Israel or not support it. It has no opinion in the matter. It needs that support Hitler. So far, at least. So, off to the next one. So, train should be the map where you actually determine if CSGO does recognize Israel as a legitimate state. And, because you would see the transportation list or whatever. The transportation list. If Tel Aviv or any major Israeli city is listed here, which I can't find a list anywhere, but I'm sure I will, is listed here, then we could confirm that it does recognize Israel as a legitimate country. So I do see three train lines here, it looks like, and that looks to lead to nowhere. At least not Israel. So that was a bust. There seems to be no transportation lists, no anything. Well, there is a transportation list, but it's only Russian, like it's only Russian cities and stuff. So we can't really decipher or like really tell if they do. It seems like they don't recognize Israel as a legitimate state so far, but I'm sure CSGO could still be there. I'm hoping. Also, why the fuck is there a grill there? Couldn't find squat in Dust 2. Bruh. So, the next map, Anubis. So, this map is already at kind of about to start, because it's obviously, well, I don't want to say obviously, I'm not 100% certain, but it does seem to be in Egypt. Not much is certain. And, yep, okay, Temple of Ra, it's most definitely in Egypt, and if you know anything about history, you know, Egyptians kind of enslaved the Jews. So they already do not recognize Israel as a legitimate state. So I'm hoping I can find some good here, though. I'm hoping. Cash. Does it recognize Israel as a legitimate state? Let's find out. So overall, I think it's safe to confirm that CSGO actually does not support Israel, or does not recognize Israel as a legitimate state. And it's kind of sad to hear, but it's just the truth. Like, out of at least the comp maps that they valued and approved of, there's no sign of Israel anywhere. There's no sign of transportation listed Israel. They support Germany, Russia, America, not Israel. I don't know why. I don't know who. I think we're going to talk to Gaben, honestly. But hopefully soon they will recognize Israel as a legitimate state. But as of now, they do not. Honestly, the only proof I could find of them really accepting Israel, supporting it as a legitimate state, is them using the IDF as some of their models and the CT force, which again, I don't really know if that counts. I don't know if that really counts as them supporting them. It could just be like Valve is using them as slaves to kill terrorists, and it's kind of fucked up, but that might be what they're doing. So for now, it's just safe to assume that they do not support Israel. Bye.
Hashem created the world in 6 days. I don't know how, but he found ways. Fish began to swim through the waves. He created fields and beautiful caves.